I am Nick Roloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. Miami plays the Monday night game this week against the New York Jets to cap out Week 4. And we got some major updates to talk about. Injury news revolving the New York Jets, some updates on the Miami Dolphins. We'll have it all here on this episode. And we'll start with the news on the Jets because it is the most crucial part of this game. It has to do with the quarterback position. We talked about it on our video Wednesday afternoon. Justin Fields still in concussion protocol. Well, Aaron Glenn, the Jets head coach, confirmed on Thursday that he remains in concussion protocol but will practice. So Fields practicing on Thursday signifies he's close to clearing concussion protocol, because if he was still suffering symptoms and still struggling with recovering from that concussion, he would not be out on the practice field. So the fact that he is going to be out there practicing today means he is likely going to be cleared some point Friday, Saturday, or Sunday and be good to go for Week 1, or Week 4, I should say. I don't know where Week 1 came from. But either way, it looks like the Dolphins are going to be playing Justin Fields this upcoming Monday night. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're 645 subscribers away from 76K. Can we get there today? Why not join the channel? We'll be live for that Monday night game. We put out daily free Dolphin shows that are informative, entertainment, and fun. So subscribe and join the channel today. There was actually a lot of speculation surrounding Justin Fields on if he returned for Week 4, if he would be even the starting quarterback for the New York Jets, because Tyrod Taylor filled in the Week 2 game against the Bills and the Week 3 game against the Buccaneers and played well. Like, you actually look at the two quarterbacks' production through 3 weeks, they've almost played the same amount of snaps, and the production is eerily similar. Sure, you get slightly more scrimmage yards from Fields due to his rushing performance against the Steelers in that opening week, but both of them have accounted for 3 touchdowns. Taylor does have an interception. QB rating is about the same. Honestly, the completion percentage is close to the same, and the passing yardage is about to the same. So it's like very similar between the two quarterbacks, but you imagine with that contract that the Jets ran out there, Fields would be the starter, and Aaron Glenn confirmed that today at his press conference. So now the Dolphins got to start preparing their game plan defensively for a mobile quarterback like Justin Fields. And the number one thing that Miami has to do in this game defensively is keep pass rush integrity. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are sending 4 people, you can't break contain. Can't do it. So if you are getting outside and you're Jalen Phillips, you're Chop, you're Chubb, you're Judon, and your goal is to rush the passer, and if you win and can get a sack, great, but your number one goal should not allow Justin Fields to break the pocket and scramble out for a 15-yard gain. And if you're one of the 2 interior pass rushers, Sealer, Benito Jones, Kenneth Grant, Jordan Phillips, you also got to keep that contained. Drive up the middle and don't get too wide to allow Fields to step up and make a play. Like, please, keep control of Justin Fields in the running game, because if you do that, he is going to struggle. And Justin Fields, the last time he played the Dolphins was actually a member of the Chicago Bears on November 6th, 2022. What happened in that game? It was not ideal. The Dolphins won the game, but the Bears quarterback at the time completed 17 of 28 passes, had over 300 scrimmage yards, 4 total touchdowns, no interceptions, and actually set a QB record for rushing yards in one game for 178. So the last time, I know it was in 2022, different defensive coordinator, the Dolphins really struggled keeping Justin Fields in the pocket. Let's not have that again. And one of my solutions is playing Willie Gay Jr. more. Like, obviously, you have to keep pass rush integrity, but it would help if you had an athletic, rangy linebacker there to help track down Justin Fields or have him as a QB spy. I said it before Week 3 against Buffalo. I wanted to see more Willie Gay Jr. and use him as a pass rusher, use him as a coverage linebacker, as well as a spy against Josh Allen. Well, I am going to ask this Dolphins organization, once again, to get him on the football field more. And yes, we have had more snaps gradually as the weeks have progressed, but it still isn't that many. Played 0 snaps in Week 1, only 3 in Week 2, and then 8 in the game against the Bills on Thursday Night Football. And the ironic thing about Willie Gay Jr., in those 11 snaps through 3 weeks, I know unbelievably small sample size, he's actually our highest graded defender on Pro Football Focus. And I know, very small sample size, but I do just find it ironic that I have been screaming from the rooftops, play Willie Gay Jr., play Willie Gay Jr., play Willie Gay Jr. He is better than Tyrel Dotson. He would bring a lot to this Dolphins defense in a ability to rush the passer, to cover, and maybe spy the quarterback. And PFF kind of agrees with me by saying, yeah, when he's been on the field for those 11 defensive plays, he's been very, very good. There are some other Jets news that we have to discuss. Couple of big-time injuries to keep your eye on. We'll start with Jermaine Johnson, who is week to week with an ankle injury, former first-round pick for the New York Jets, suffered a torn Achilles last year, early in September, and missed the entire year, working his way back. And then Jarvis Brownlee Jr., a player that was actually on the Tennessee Titans last week. The Jets traded for him, a promising young corner. He is also week to week with an ankle injury, so both of these players will be questionable for Monday Night Football. But I want to harp on Jermaine Johnson because this would be a pretty big loss for that Jets defense. He was productive in his first 2 years in the league, obviously suffered that injury last year, but was off to a very good start in the first couple weeks of the season this year for the Jets. But dealing with that injury, keeping him potentially out, would really set this Jets pass rush a little bit back because this isn't a good group. Will McDonald has had a good start to the year. There's no doubt about that, the former first-round pick out of Iowa State. And Quinnen Williams is always a difference maker on the interior. But if you go beyond Quinnen Williams and Will McDonald, this is a pretty brutal group. Like Harrison Phillips isn't bringing you that much. Michael Clemens isn't bringing you that much. So if Jermaine Johnson's out, like if you could just hone in on McDonald and Quinnen Williams, you will probably be able to control the line of scrimmage offensively for most of the night here in week 4. Like, I think this Dolphins team needs to take advantage of the injuries on this Jets defense. You never root for injuries, but we're just having to work with what we are given with. And with the Jets missing a couple linebackers, a couple key defensive linemen, like, this is an opportunity for this Dolphins offense to really control the line of scrimmage, really be able to run the ball effectively, and hang, I'd say, 24, 27 points on the Jets this week. So, got to take advantage of the break that you have with a couple key people potentially out for New York. Coming up in just 1 second, we're going to take a look at some Miami Dolphins injury news and updates on Thursday afternoon. But before we get into all that, I got to tell you about our sponsor, which is PrizePicks. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season where it's good to be right. So simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. Double your money, even if one of your picks does not hit. I have a 3-player entry for this Monday night action. I think Breece Hall goes more than 54.5 rushing yards. Dolphins have struggled to stop the run early in the year. Also think Garrett Wilson will go more than 66.5 receiving yards because the Dolphins secondary is not very good. But how about this one? I think Ollie Gordon scores a touchdown on primetime for the second straight week. He's getting more involved with the offense. I expect Miami to get in the end zone 3-4 times, and if one of them is inside the 5, Ollie Gordon's going to have a high chance of getting that touchdown. So give me that 3-player entry there. But join me and the millions of others. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Let's focus on Darren Waller now, who is set to make his Miami Dolphins debut this Monday night. Obviously missed the first 3 weeks of the season with that hip injury. Well, Mike McDaniel said earlier this week that he is expected to be on a snap count, and we kind of got a little bit of an update on how they expect to use Darren Waller as well. I forecasted third down passing situations and red zone work. Well, that's kind of what Mike McDaniel alluded to as well. They'll probably have certain personnel packages and a very limited amount of play sets to where Waller can be used inside the 20 and on 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 7s. And I'll say this, as critical as I've been of Darren Waller and his inability to get on the field until week 4, I think he could be very impactful for the Dolphins, especially in the red zone in close quarters. This guy is a 6'6", 240-pound tight end who, yes, he hasn't played football in a couple of years, but he does move extremely well for his size. When he played for the Giants and Raiders, he was very, very athletic and was a mismatch nightmare for linebackers and safeties. Hopefully, he'll be able to bring some of that juice for this Dolphins offense and just give them another added weapon when they get down in close quarters, inside the 10, inside the 5. We've already seen them, when they get in that situation, use Ollie Gordon a little bit more, and hopefully Darren Waller becomes a part of that red zone offense as well. I got a sneaky feeling, I didn't put it in my PrizePicks entry, but I think Darren Waller, just because I've been shit-talking him all season long, I think he shuts me up in week 1, scores a touchdown. Am I crazy for thinking that? I would honestly think Waller scores this week in the limited snaps that he has. Let me know, do you think he scores this week? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We'll round out the show talking briefly about injury news and Patrick Paul, because Mike McDaniel speaking very highly of the second-year left tackle, saying if we're not talking about him, then he's probably doing a good job. He has developed as much as any player that I've been around. And it's just music to my ears. Like, I said it before the year that I think this Dolphins offense will go as Patrick Paul goes. And I still believe that would have been the case if Austin Jackson and James Daniels stayed healthy. But with those two being hurt, you can't really get elevated by your second-year left tackle. But Patrick Paul has given you everything that you could possibly have imagined that you'd want. Graded out 69.7, 79.6 pass blocking grade. Simply because he's been one of the best pass blocking left tackles in all of football here. You look at his NFL ranks through 3 weeks. He's the 20th overall offensive tackle, the 8th overall pass blocking offensive tackle. He's 11th in pressures allowed and 1st in penalties because he has 0 accepted penalties. He's been awesome. And simply put, he's been absolutely great. And we have a video going out in a couple days highlighting Patrick Paul and the production and impact that he's had so far for Miami. It's just maybe the number one silver lining for Dolphins fans so far. In a very brutal, negative first month of the year, Patrick Paul has been, without a question, the biggest positive. All right, some Dolphins injuries to talk about here. Couple players not at practice, Storm Duck and Jason Marshall Jr. Duck has actually already been ruled out for this Monday Night Football game. 3rd straight game he's missing, which means he's likely returning in Week 5 against Carolina, because it would be his 4th game missed, and if he was going to miss 4 games, they should have just put him on IR. Melifonwu dealing with that calf injury. We'll see if he can go on Monday, but Marshall Jr. Did not practice today. He'll likely be out as well. That'll do it for today's show. More content in between now and Monday night's game against the Jets. We'll be live for that game as well. So subscribe, join us for more Dolphins content.